Good day. This video is going to explain how to configure DHCP, but the main focus is our layer 2, what happens to the data link in the MAC address. So what we have here looks like an empty router. Oop, turn it on. Better do that. A little layer 1 troubleshooting tonight. I turned all the devices off, no power. Okay, so let's go ahead and configure the router. You can see the config is going to be very easy. Host name, and then your IP DHCP commands, and then your gigabit. So for time factor, we're going to copy. Remember, your skills exam expectations is know the commands by heart, not DHCP. This is just a kind of advanced config. So config T, and then I'm going to paste, and no shutdown is in the wrong spot. Typo, but default gateway went in. So everything went in. Okay, so I'm gonna type do show run config, and that way I don't have to leave the config mode. And then I can check here's my commands for DHCP. So the first thing we did, we excluded 172.16.1 to all the way through 172.16.10. So that would be for like switches, routers, things that need static IPs, servers, and then we're defining a network which matches the exclude address and also the subnet mask. And in your default router, which if we look at gigabit 100, it is the default gateway. So let's go to the switch. Simple config here. We're doing host name, interface VLAN 1. IP address, no shutdown. So once again, do show run so I don't leave config. And I look at interface VLAN 1. It's got IP address of 224 mask. And remember, for exam, we want line con, VTY, all the other basic configs with SSH. All right, so now they're configured. So let's do a quick test on the ping here. So let's go into simulation mode because what we're looking at is the information at layer 2. I'm going to type Control Z to exit config, and then I'll type ping 172.16.1.2. Take my place speed slider. So first is ICMP only goes up to layer 3. We see the source and destination layer 3 IP address. If we go to the ARP, we notice again it is a source address with a destination of FFF. That's a broadcast layer 2. So it will flood out the switch, and then if we freeze, these end devices does not match the MAC address. So the switch actually sends back. So if we look here, we see FFF. If we go down to the next transaction, still have the broadcast. So because it timed out, we'll speed that up. We'll go back this way. So I can type do ping to 172.16.1.1. So we've already generated traffic. So we can see that there's no ARP. So if we play it, it's a unicast. So once again, we don't see that layer 2 broadcast. All right, now let's test DHCP. So what we're going to do is go to simulation. Let's go ahead and flip this PC. Oh, it got one already. Look at that. So let's do this. All right, back to simulation mode. So I exited simulation, back into simulation, and let's flip this to DHCP. So we should have an expectation of layer 7. Notice it's all zeros because it's asking, it's using UDP layer 4. So that's on guaranteed delivery. So you have an IP address of 0, and then your destination is a broadcast at layer 3 and a broadcast at layer 2 FFF. So this is an example of using the layer 2 as a broadcast. So once again, it kind of timed out. But we still gonna see this as a broadcast. And we can see that it actually occurred. It's hard to see, so we'll try this one. I'll have to speed up the as fast as it can go, because what will happen for DHCP, it'll time out too quickly because of the way the protocols operate. So once again, we go to DHCP, we flip. So we should see layer 7, no IP, source or destination, UDP port 6768, no no IP in no source IP in a destination IP of a broadcast 255s, and then layer 2 broadcast FFF. So let's see if this will be quick enough to get the IP back. So here's the ARP. We still see it's a layer 2, but it's now given out an IP address. So you see that it's a broadcast layer 2, but it still has the IP given out. So if we follow this through and look at our IP, it should be 12. So that is another example of the data link layer 2. And one thing about the configs aren't difficult, especially if you have them ahead of time like this. So if you want to speed up some of your labs or build some labs on your own, go ahead and use DHCP, because you can continue to add as many PCs as you want. Let's go into simulation mode so we can see what happens when we connect a PC to the switch. So just switch traffic, no real traffic other than, because we haven't tried to generate. And now the switch is amber talking to the PC. I'll fast forward time. So now let's watch this one more DHCP process. DHCP, zeros, port numbers the same, zeros, 255s, and Fs. So at some point, we're going to see so once again in packet trace, it's too slow of a process, but it actually gets it. So there's 13. So remember when we excluded, we started it up to 10. So the first IP was 11. That would be PC 0, PC 1 got IP address 12, and then PC 2 got 13. So once again, that layer 2 broadcast is necessary, and we can also use this as an attack on layer 2. So that concludes our DHCP demo.